Hello and welcome to Hamer Reviews. My name is Christopher Hamer and today I'm reviewing the Cambridge Audio Melomania One Plus True In-Ear Wireless Headphones. So these headphones came as a bit of a surprise to me because I reviewed the Cambridge Audio Melomania Touch headphones earlier on this year and I felt that was the logical replacement for the One series and that was that, and we had a great set of headphones and there we were. And then out of the blue, just a few weeks ago, they launched the Cambridge Audio Melomania One Plus. Now the One Plus is interesting. It's an update on the One series, which was very popular and very well revered. And I'm kind of wondering as to how this came about and why. Because in many ways, I think the Cambridge Audio Melomania Touch headphones are magnificent. And I've got a comparison video coming up, but I just couldn't work out initially where these fit in. They're £10 each cheaper than the Melomania Touch series. It's £120. And yeah, it's sort of trying to work it out. And I think I understand now. It's fair to say that the Melomania Touch series had a bit of a difficult birth. There were some firmware issues, and there was a few app issues, and a few complaints around software, and as a result, I wonder whether they got knocked a little bit more hard than they should have, because they are honestly magnificent headphones. The One Plus series, I guess, is like a reinvention of the One. It's minor updates here and there, better sound, better waterproof rating. These are IPX5, so these are actually pretty water resistant. I'd not go as far as to say waterproof, but they're getting pretty close to that way. IPX5 is like being able to shoot a consistent stream of water at them and them to be okay. So these are great headphones for sport, for instance, as a result of that. But equally, I always felt that the Touch series already was that. So let's just have a look at the One Plus. I'm not going to try and compare too much, so as I said, I'll do a separate video. But let's just have a look at that and see what it's like. Sorry about the chiming. There's going to be more throughout this video. Nothing much I can do about it, I'm afraid. I keep on trying to record this video and we keep on getting chimes, so here we are. So the One Plus, the design is very similar to the One series. It is a tubular design that sticks into your ears, and when you've actually put them in, they do stick out a little bit, but it's not too far. They come in white and black, and they have quite a nice small plastic charging case. I really like the size of this charging case. It's not too big, not too small. There's a nice metal hinge, so it should last a long time, and it provides a really good amount of battery life. It also charges over USB-C, something I'm incredibly fond of, and I'm really glad that Cambridge Audio chose to go with. So once the headphones are in your ear, I think they do look all right. They come with a combination of silicone and foam ear tips. I'm using the silicone ones at the moment, and as a result, these actually stick out slightly further than they do if I use the foam ear tips. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but in the case of my ears, I actually find that the back plastic on these headphones rubs against the outside of my ears. The result of that is, because this plastic is quite sharp, they become uncomfortable after about half an hour to an hour of usage. I think that's really unfortunate because I do like the design of these headphones, but that ongoing rubbing is a real issue on my ears, and if you have a similar size shape ear to myself, you're probably going to run into that issue as well. Now, it's really important to note the fact that your mileage will vary depending on the shape and size of your ear. It's quite possible it's not a problem you're ever going to encounter, so I do still encourage you to try these out even if you're not sure, because you might find that you don't run into any issues at all. With the foam ear tips, as I mentioned, I think they go deeper into my ear as a result, and I don't actually feel that pain at all because they're not sitting on the outside of my ear. So it really is something that you may or may not encounter. I like the fact that these actually have actual buttons to activate them. So each side of the earbud, the outside is a button. There's a single button and nothing else. I think the single button control works well, because obviously, you hold down the left to change volume down, you hold down the right to change volume up, tap twice to change tracks, etc. Very logical, works very well. It integrates nicely with Siri and OK Google, etc. So overall, Cambridge Audio has done a good job there. Of course, the most important thing that you're going to expect from these headphones is sound quality. And I'm really pleased to say they do deliver in droves. These sound fantastic. Unlike the Melomania Touch series, I actually found I didn't have to mess with the EQ at all to get a really nice sound, whereas with those I did have to play around with it quite a bit to get them just right. Out of the box, these sound fantastic. There is no two ways about it. Nice deep lows, really crisp highs, and the midtones aren't muddied out at all. They just sound great. Of course, there are some instances where maybe you want a little bit more punch, but overall, I think the soundstage these produce is just magnificent. I also really like the fact these go quite loud. Now, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't be playing your headphones at full volume all the time because you will likely damage your hearing. However, Quite often I find if I'm watching media content, for instance YouTube videos, I can quite often find a video that actually has very quiet audio. And even with turning up to full volume, it's still not particularly loud. These will definitely allow you to enjoy that type of content where the microphone hasn't been optimized. So overall, that's great. On the subject of microphones, they do of course have built-in microphones so you can conduct calls with them. I have a little audio test that you can listen to just so you can make your mind up to decide what you think. I think they're all right. They're nothing special as with most microphones in these kind of headphones, but overall they're fine. But let's just jump into that audio sample. This is the audio from the Cambridge Audio Melomania 1 Plus headphones. So if you're using these for a telephone call, this is roughly what you'd sound like. This is recorded in a fairly quiet room directly into my computer. So this is the sound quality that you'd expect. So that's what they sound like. I think it's fine in terms of microphone. People could certainly hear me on the phone. I didn't have too many complaints, but it's only ever going to be so good when your microphone's over here and your mouse is over here, not pointed towards them. Battery life is very impressive in my opinion. You get 45 hours with this small charging case and the 9 hours that each earbud is capable of. Now 45 hours I think is enough for most people over the course of a week, so only having to charge them once a week is pretty good. Each earbud is capable of 9 hours. That is low power mode that you can activate. I always have them in high quality sound mode, so you get slightly less than that, but it's never an issue I really ran into. I did say that I like the little charging case, and I really like how easy it is to put them in. There's no fiddling. You just push them in and they will charge up without any problems whatsoever. Lastly, I just want to talk about the Cambridge Audio app. So the Melomania app, as I said, had a little bit of a difficult birth with the Touch series. I think it's absolutely fine now. It works very well. I didn't have any pairing issues. I haven't had any loss of connections. They just tend to work and work very well. My iPhone has no issue pairing with them whatsoever. They do use the latest in Qualcomm aptX technology, etc. So you're going to get good sound from them. But it's just worth bearing in mind that there were those issues with the Touch, which I don't think have replicated onto these, which I think is a good thing. At £120, they aren't the cheapest headphones, but I definitely think they're best in class, or at least I think they would be best in class if it weren't for the Cambridge Audio Melomania Touch series. I know, I promised I wouldn't bring them up too much, and now I have the box and the headphones in front of me. These headphones are really good, and I personally find them more comfortable. At £130, they're only £10 more than the One Plus. I think you should think long and hard whether you want the One Plus or the Touches if you're looking at these. I personally prefer the Touch. You might prefer the One Plus. Ideally, I'd suggest trying them both out and seeing which you decide is best. There are retailers out there that you can kind of get away with that with. So for instance, with Amazon. But overall, I just encourage you to try and at least try one set of these out if you're considering them, because they're both excellent. The sound quality is magnificent and the fit is different on both, but equally I think quite good as long as you don't have that ear issue that I had with the hard plastic edge on these. Overall then, Cambridge Audio has made another magnificent product. I think it's a worthy update to the Melomania 1s, and I would recommend them very strongly, highly. If you have any questions about these headphones, please pop them in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the comparison between these two. And if you haven't already, give the video a thumbs up, as that really helps too. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope I see you again next time. Goodbye.